What's going on? What's going on? I hope you guys can hear me out there. We're back in the pod, back in the building. Welcome to the No Face Sports Show at Sports Game Vision. You are now tuned into the sounds of No Face Sports Show with your host, Hank, Sports Game Vision. Uh, just wanted to jump in, tap in. I did not get a chance to tap in on this over the weekend. This is pretty much my review of the Saturday night's main event. And I know we got more festivities on tonight, but I'm gonna tap into that a little bit later. Luckily, thanks for DVRs. Shout out to my guy. What's up? What's up? What's up? BA. um, what's going on? What's going on? Yeah, talking this wrestling here. John Cena retiring. Um, yeah, I didn't have a chance to review it. Had to go get some dollars and get paid, but I wanted to just touch on it. Don't know if you got a chance to check it out yourself, guys. But I actually really enjoyed the event on Saturday night. Probably one of the best ones that I've seen so far since they brought it back. And we're gonna just jump right on into it again. If you in the building, make sure you like, heart, share, subscribe, and of course, let me know what you think in the comment section so we can chat it on up. Again, shout out to my guy BA. Make sure you go to his page. He got great content. Um, get your bars media. He got a whole bunch of variety of things going on. Um, but let's tap into what's going on here. The first match of the evening on Saturday night's main event was Obafemi and then Cody Rhodes, champion versus champion, the face now, the face of the future. Oba looked really good in this match. Came out strong, was really, destroying Cody throughout the match. And, just seeing the match setup, you already knew that more than likely this was going to be a non-finish. You really don't want Oba to take the pin, and you don't want to have Cody take the pin. How you go about it, I don't know if I'm that good to do it. I mean, I think I could outright myself, but in as far as psychology is concerned and where they plan on going in the future with these with both of them, you want to protect their strength in the ring. And obviously, if you saw the match, Cody came back a little bit, but it was interference from Drew McIntyre, his rival right now, and they stopped the match, DQ. Oba got in between and checked Drew McIntyre, let him know he didn't like him interfering in the match. And again, that Oba's a pretty big dude, man, because we know Drew is pretty tall and big himself. They were eye to eye, neck to neck, toe to toe, and that's something that's probably in the future as Oba gets called up to the main roster, which is they should do sooner than later. He looked really great. And in the future, hey, him versus Cody, him versus Drew. They already got a couple of storylines they can jump right into when they actually call him up. But it was a good match besides the DQ. But again, I knew something was coming because you can't really let either one of these two drop or lose a match. But great feel. The crowd went wild for both men, especially for Cody when he came out with his interest music. And yeah, I did like the match up until the DQ because it just it, they had to do something. But I wanted to see more. But you only got so much time to get this across, and they couldn't lose. But again, Oba, hopefully pretty soon he drops it and comes on up to the main roster, SmackDown or Raw, more likely SmackDown. As we see, this is the retirement match, the retirement tour, the retirement match of John Cena, and he wanted the young talent to come on up and get a spotlight. Oba is one of those guys that can definitely be the face of the future, and they need to do something now, soon. As we move on to the next, we're talking of the business here, and John Cena and WWE Triple H. Hopefully, got some computer issues here, but either way, it's Sol Ruka, who was Zaria Delta, and she had a match against the legendary Hall of Famer, one of my favorites, probably in the business, in WWE and in the business. Her friend Sasha Banks, Mercedes Monet, is also a favorite of mine. But yeah, she in the WWE, she's a goat. She faced off against Bailey. It was a really good match, and it really showed the strong suit of Sol Ruka coming from NXT. Her acrobatic move she did in the ring against Bailey. She did some stuff that you really don't see every day, every week, especially on the main roster. And there is moves that only can suit her because of her background in acrobatics, but gymnastics and all that stuff. But it was a great match. The finish, I wasn't shocked that she won. She ended up winning the match against Bailey. Wasn't shocked because Bailey, she's giving. She's very giving. It's one of the strong suits about her, maybe to a fault, but she's always helping out other talent, other roster on the roster, the women in general. She's been doing it for a very long time, but she's a great wrestler, and she put Soul over, got the win in a roll up, and it was a really enjoyable, fun match. Definitely one of the matches of the night. Need to check that out. Probably the best one because we're gonna get into the John Cena match. Oba and Cody was kind of they showed Oba's strength, but the finish wasn't the greatest. But this one was pretty good. I definitely need to check this one out. And again, you got two people of the future right now, Oba and now Sol Ruka on the main roster. Um, Saturday night's main event showing you what the future is going to look like. And of course, you had Zaria Delta in there with her. She's going to be a part of it as well. And of course, Lyra Valkyria, who's also in the ring with those two women. And we know how great in the ring she is, and she's a part of it, former Intercontinental champion as well. And yeah, with the match, the night kept moving on. Again, I really like this match the most so far. Then you had the next round of matches come in. The next bout was against the young versus the, I don't want to say old because Dragon Lee's not really that old, but we know AJ Styles is on his way out. He's trying to finish up his career. They're the tag team champions, Javon Evans and Leon Slater, who is the X Division champion in TNA. They were facing off the veterans, I would say, against the Young Bucks. We know Leon Slater is very good, and so is Javon Evans. Javon hopefully gets a chance to win a championship down in NXT before he's brought up, but they definitely have to bring him up at some point. You got to have somebody to carry the NXT roster down there, and I think that he can do that for a while. He's still super young, and then they'll bring him up, the young OG. But this match wasn't very, very long, but it was fun because they do all the moves and high spots that Dragon can do, and of course AJ can still somewhat do. Doesn't do it as often. Sorry about that, guys. The mic went off. He doesn't do it as often, but they were flying all across their ring doing high spots. Pretty, quick match. AJ Styles ended up winning with the Styles Clash, and they retain their championship. They're still the champions on Raw. This one was a good, quick, fun match. It just wasn't long enough, in my opinion. They probably could have made it longer, and they could have had more fun out there. AJ, made a slip on the ring. He had a little oops, but again, those guys did so much in there in that short amount of time. It really wasn't a big deal for me. It was still fun. I still enjoyed it, and just wish they had a little bit more time to put the match together. In a lot of ways, I wish that Leon and Javon could have won this match. But at the same token, you got to protect, AJ Styles and Dragon Lee. They are the champions, and they're very fun to watch on on television right now. So you don't want to make them look weak. But at the same token, you're trying to put over these young talent. Again, a longer match probably would have served a better purpose, to really show more strength for the younger guys in this match, and showing what the future is going to look like. Javon's going to get called up. Leon's contract for TNA is going to be up sometime next year. And as many times he's been on WWE TV, he's more than likely going to end up being here. And him and Javon have a great run. And of course, they'll have some great matches against each other, which they've already, done one before, but they're going to have even more. They'll have a nice rivalry, hopefully, in due time. But yeah, great showing of the young talent. You had three showcases of young talent in NXT or for the roster in WWE and future roster, and that's what John Cena wanted, and he somewhat achieved that. Um, but it was like I say, this Saturday night's main event was not bad at all. I don't recall watching a whole bunch of commercials until the end. That junk sucked at the end. But a very good Saturday night's main event so far. Again, one of the best ones that I've seen throughout this year. But the show kept going on, and then you got to a comedy spot, pretty much. The Miz came out complaining about his not being in the last time is now tour, so to speak, as much as he wanted to be. And then Ron Cena came out. Ron Killings came out. R-Truth interrupted him and then gave him something to read. And he said his name. He appeared. Then they crashed the show by beating up the Miz in the middle of the ring, and you see the pose right there. They did the dance and that he's for his theme song, saying side to side. My name is Joe Hendry. Yeah, it was a nice little spot for him to put in and kind of keep the show moving. And I believe Miz and John Cena are pretty cool. So having them in on this last show, I'm sure John was back there smiling while he was getting ready for this match that we'll be talking about pretty soon. But one other classy moment that I really liked here was the commentators. Michael Cole brought up former commentators on the program that are part of AEW. And obviously, they've done something like this before, but with the whole beef going on with WWE and AEW, they could have just kind of left them off the program, but they mentioned, JR, they mentioned Taz, of course, they mentioned King Lawler and JBL as well, who all had a big part in calling matches and being a part of the whole of John Cena's career, big moments in his career. Obviously, was not able to be there tonight, but or on Saturday night's main event. But they did mention him. I thought that was pretty cool. Maybe they can mend some fences at some point down the line, and they can work together as far as the companies. Because if they didn't have this beef, Jr. Taz, you could have got Jericho and Cope, or Edge rather, to come on in and do some work in this retirement tour, even if it's just a one-off. They could have came in there and did some things. But obviously there's big beef, and WWE is acting as if AEW is no competition at all, and we all know that's untrue. But again, still class act for them to at least mention these gentlemen who are a big part of his career. But as the show moved on, we got to the final match of the night, and it's John Cena, obviously, last final match. Gunther came out to a sea of boos, obviously, and then you brought out John Cena. And as we see here, we'll take a final look at the in-ring career. He took a L, man. If you didn't see it, I'm sure you've seen maybe post about it. The match itself was okay. I mean, it wasn't his greatest match. It wasn't like the match he had against AJ Styles or anything like that, or one of the recent ones against Cody or anything like that. But it still was he brought out the greatest hits, the 5-knuckle shuffle. He got you a few attitude adjustments. He's was enjoying the crowd, and Gunther got him into that choke a few times until he made him tap out, and he gave up. And the fans were very, very upset about it. In my opinion, I was looking forward to Cena winning his match, his final match. But I also felt that he probably would not do that. He's a company man. Um, he obviously him bringing all these talents to Saturday night's main event shows you he wanted to promote things after him. You've already heard the comments where he said the business is going to forget about him. What shortly after he retires. Um, I just had a feeling that he was going to take the loss, and he did. He did, as you can see here in the middle of the ring. He smiled. He knew it was over, and everyone was upset because his hustle, loyalty, respect, and never give up. But I think he wanted to, in my opinion, looking at it, you see the smile on his face. He knows when to give up. Is the message, and he already knew it's his final match. He knows that this is going to give rub to Gunther. And if you've seen the post match with the little kids going off for him and the crowd going off on him, this brings so much heat towards them that they should be able to capitalize on it. They have to obviously book them right, but the initial heat is going to be very great for him. He's got big shoulders. He's already a star in himself. We know the great runs with the UK title, the great runs in NXT, the great run with the Intercontinental Championship, and he had a pretty solid run with the world title. Not better than the other ones, but we know they know they're still building him up on the main roster with that championship, and he's going to get some more runs with the belt. And you don't want to make him totally unstoppable where he can never lose. So they had to, of course, they put the bet on Jay this past year, which I enjoyed. I know a lot of people didn't, but this is going to give him some more time to really establish himself as the main eventer. Um, and Cena knows it. He's like, it's time. It's time for me to go. It takes away a lot of the he's coming back. If he'd have won the match, people would have complained about him winning too. There'd been a group of people that would have complained about him winning. But what does that do for him winning that? If he's going to retire, what does that do for him totally? And you just get the baby face appreciation. Again, Sting's match he had when he went out was great. I will admit that. But I felt with John Cena, with him being still in his prime, so to speak, he's still got a little bit left in the tank. We know Sting really was done. Um, Cena still had enough left if he wanted to wrestle a couple more years. So that hope of him doing that, he's able to pass off the energy for Gunther or whoever else, but Gunther especially. You had to put an established gentleman out there to do the business, and he's going to be able to capitalize on it. I'm sure. As long as they book him right, and we know the complaints about the booking in WWE so far, but after the match, John Cena was given two belts to go around the ring, an ode to when him and Batista gave it to Hogan back in the day. He looked a little uncomfortable, but he's a champion. Everybody knows that. He's, as they say, maybe sports entertainment died that night. I mean, again, he's professional wrestling too. He grew up a fan of the business. Some things were done differently in the Vince era, but again, he's the face of the WWE. And as you can see here, they consider him the greatest of all time. 17 championships, 5 world US championships, intercontinental, 4 tag teams, 2 Royal Rumble winner, Royal Rumble winner, 726 televised matches, and 8,500 days or more since his debut. And there's more. I got another graph somewhere where he's won what is it, about 70% of his matches. Hall of Fame career. If just out of WWE alone, if there was the any other company would put him in their Hall of Fame. And he's, I wouldn't necessarily say he's my GOAT, but I know he's definitely in that GOAT conversation. As I say, that GOAT room, you put a whole bunch of people that are deserving of that title. He's at the table in the main floor. He did a lot for the business, made a lot of money. A lot of people complained about his move set. I wasn't too mad. He's a big guy, and I think he put on some great matches. One of my favorite matches of his is when he put over Kevin Owens, who's one of my favorites. When he came up for the main roster and beat him, oh, I believe it was on Raw, and gave him that big push. So, you know, John Cena is, he's hanging it up. He knows when to say it's time. Again, when he tapped out and had that smile, everyone says never give up. And sometimes you have to know when it's time to go. And I think that's what that metaphorical smile is. It's time for me to go on and move on to greater things. He will be back in WWE. He's just gonna do more talking. Maybe he'll mentor somebody, but he won't do any wrestling. He'll do some appearances. He's going to have a busy schedule being in Hollywood and whatever other business ventures that he has going on, but a great career. And I did like Saturday night's main event. If you've not watched it, go ahead and watch it. Even with the last match, it was still fun. Was it the best match of his? No, but it was still fun to see the last of the last. It's going to be it for him. And overall, the whole event was good. The fans were very upset. As you can see, Triple H was booed as he came to the ring to say, good career. And he pointed to the screen, had John see his retirement video package. Fans were booing him. If he came out as a wrestler, he'd have a lot of heat too. We know he can't do that at this point, but yeah, he would he would be up there with Gunther or even Dom. People don't boo Dom as much as they used to, but he'd have that type of heat on him. Again, you could have had him go out as a winner. I wouldn't be mad at it, but I do think that if they book this right for Gunther, it'll be the right decision overall. But who am I? Let me know what you think. I'm just giving you my opinion. Saturday night's main event was a success. I was there for the Goldberg retirement, and I got to see everything obviously in the crowd, but we know on television it was rushed. This did not feel rushed. John Cena didn't um he didn't give a speech, but of course he laid his shoes and headbands in the middle of the ring, a la Undertaker and WrestleMania. We know Undertaker came back a couple of times. They had the cinematic match, and of course he came back and gave The Rock a choke slam a few years ago at WrestleMania. Um, but yeah, he's hanging it up for good. Walked out of the building with the crowd, the whole roster around the ring. People were, emotional about this. Cody, the referee Charles was crying, and I'm sure there was other, people crying in the crowd about, him leaving. And let's just point out the fact that a lot of these wrestlers don't really get a real chance to go out on their terms. John Cena got to do that. Just think about in sports, period. Some of our favorite athletes never go out, you know, in a good way. They're hanging on too long. And Cena already said he did not want to do that. And so he got to say goodbye. He gave everybody a chance to see him throughout the year. He won two championships. If he had a few more dates, because he did want to do more, he said he wanted to do a full year. They said no. He could have maybe grabbed another tag team, maybe grabbed some type of NXT and dropped it to Oba, something like that. Didn't have enough time to do all that. I think it's just enough. They sold the merch, they sold out the houses, and he gets to say goodbye. Again, it's not over with. He'll be back to say hello, but it's just the in-ring career is over with. And he's talked about his health too, man. All those years of taking those bumps and those heavy weights, it's caught up. Same thing that AJ Styles has said. And John Cena's elaborated on it more, how he's in pain a lot and he has to, get himself ready just to do matches. So, enough is enough, and hence the tap out. Yes, sometimes you got to know when to go. You fight, you fight, you fight, you fight, but overall, and sometimes in life, you got to move on. So that's what he's doing. He ain't giving up on life. He's just giving up on in-ring career. But go watch that show. Let me know what you think about it. What do you think about him retiring? What do you think about the young people that are coming up? Oba, Sol Ruka, Zarya, um, Javon and Leon Slater, all these younger people that's going to be coming up from around, not just in WWE, but from other companies as well. Let me know what you think in the comment section, and definitely go check out some of my other work that's on here on the channel. I did another talk about my guy Stuart Scott this week, and we got some more WWE stuff I talked about on my last No Face Sports show. So definitely check out the material. And we will be back in the building for some more. I'm about to go check out, see the type of energy they got on Raw, and check out some of these NBA games. And I will be back in the building. I holla at you. Peace.